Good morning. Today is April 15th, 2021. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. I'd like to call this meeting of the Logan County Commissioners to order. Please rise for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you and welcome, everyone. At this time, we move on to item 3. Any citizens desiring to be heard? I know we've got a representative from FEMA that may want to say a few words to the board to help us out a little bit. And then we can have a one-on-one discussion with you after the meeting. How's that sound?
Okay.
So please, ma'am.
I'm Marlene Summerlot. I'm with Oklahoma Emergency Management. I'm your Northwest Field Services representative. We have 2 disasters going on right now. We've got 4575, and FEMA has a new streamlined project to where you are responsible for entering all the data into the FEMA system. I was talking with you just a while ago. There is a chance that you may have to enter it as a county and not by district. I'm going to find out more about that. Because right now I've been working basically with small towns. So then we also have 4587, which is a Cat B at this moment. We are still working on getting your C through G categories. Since you have already signed up with FEMA and did an RPA for this disaster, FEMA will contact you and ask you to go ahead and start the process. You need to let them know that you do not have emergency protective measures, and if they ask you to withdraw, say the state has requested we stay in until we get the official declaration. And that's all I have for now.
Okay. Do you need to meet with us afterward?
If you want.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, ma'am. Any other citizens desiring to be heard? Hearing none. On to item 4. Consideration and possible action on approving minutes of April 5th, 2021.
You would pass them down, please.
I'll move that we approve the minutes as written.
I will second.
Have a motion and a second to approve minutes. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Item 5, consideration and possible action on plat of Hamilton Addition, Section 2, a replat of lots 1 and 2, blocks 4 of Hamilton Addition, Section 1 in the southwest quarter of 2915 North, 3 West.
I was looking on here about the road, it says the roads here in will be private and maintained and not maintained by the county. So they got the language in there about the county road not to be maintained by the county. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the plat, or the replat of lots 1 and 2. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously.
No way. Only one page.
Should be 2.
That's all right, thanks, sir. I kind of right that way anyway. It'll be pretty sticky in there. Go back here.
Yes, if you would, and then they'll take them over and get them piled.
Remember the man to go on the road back up.
I got the fat one.
This other one's a lot better.
I think that, did y'all bring a pen?
No.
Okay.
Y'all can have them if you want them. Appreciate it. Good luck with them. Thank you.
There you go,
You
sir.
got them all sold already?
We will see.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
All right, so, item 6, discussion with ODOT local government, consideration of possible action to update and/or change and/or approve, acknowledge the Logan County 5-year SERB plan, to reconsider previous decisions for final design of Coltrane Phase 3, consideration to add the following to the current Logan County 5-year SERB plan, Bear Creek Bridge project, and the Waterloo Road Logjam Initiative, information update on the I-35 Waterloo Interchange project. So let me start. The ODOT local government folks could not attend. They couldn't be here. So we are without them in the audience. So to that, neither Dale Burke nor Stephen from the engineering group could be here either. And because of the open meeting rules and acts and such like that, there's been some emails that have gone back and forth between the engineering group, myself, ODOT, and basically, the engineering group, Stephen, wrote an email to myself and all of the folks in ODOT local government and above, stating that the Coltrane project, the old engineering, the 3 lanes, curb and gutter that we approved last time, needed an additional 3 parcels of right-of-way to be acquired before we could move on with that. And that was never mentioned before. That's never been brought up. He talked about right-of-way that needed to be purchased if we were going to go with the 2 lanes and the ditches, because we needed some more drainage in that design. But never at our board meeting did he ever mention that we needed more right-of-way for the old design. And so based on that, our board approved moving forward with the old design because we could get it let in July. Well, as soon as he brought up that in email, of course, ODOT local government exploded and said we're not aware that you needed any more right-of-way. Understandable. Threw it back over to the wall to us. And so we swapped some more emails, and this morning I got an email that was sent to me late last evening by Dale Burke that said they weren't going to be able to be here today, and that Stephen's out on vacation, and so we're not going to be able to look at what we need to do anything on the Coltrane project today. Later on, items 7 and 8 have to do with affidavits, basically stating that all the utilities are moved and all the right-of-ways have been purchased, and to continue for the July letting. And I don't recommend that we take any action on those when we get to that, because we don't know.
Yeah. What, I thought they stated in the last meeting we had that, it was shovel ready to go.
That's exactly what we all understood, yes, sir.
And, but Shelley also mentioned that she could give us a 60-day grace period. Would we have time to get the parcels bond?
So, so that's, her first response was, I was told we didn't need any of this. This changes everything, all bets are off, you're not going, you know. And so I wrote another email and basically said that's kind of what I expect from ODOT, is throw it back over the wall and said, oh, you know, we need to be able to work together. Anyway, after that, she wrote another letter saying that everything's been done, everything's put in place. All we need is for the original design to sign these letters of acknowledgement that the utility's been moved and the right-of-way's in good shape. One of the things that I believe is broke about the SERV program is
The SERV program?
the SERV program, yes. Well, yeah, that. One of the details, when you drill down, one of the worst things in the world about that is that ODOT, local government, gives us a list of engineers, and we can pick any engineer we want to help us design our projects. And it's only our projects while it's being designed. And it's only our projects when something can go wrong, right? So they ask us to pick an engineer, and then those engineers get paid up front when they do the design. And they're the ones that are supposed to be project managers for us on the design and on the implementation. And they're the ones that are supposed to find all of the utilities that need to be relocated and help us with the parcel, which parcels need to be purchased. Not the actual purchasing, because there's people that do that for a living that go out and negotiate costs. Still, they're required to tell us when we're ready to go. And this engineering group on the Coltrane Road project have missed that twice up on the north 2 miles, and it cost us $2 million in change orders up there because they couldn't find utilities. This is one of the worst things, and we can't do anything about it now because they've already been paid. I mean, how do you fire somebody that's already been paid? They don't care at that point. So,
I'm sorry.
go ahead. No, that's all right.
Did he get confused on the new plan and the old plan? Do we actually need that right away on the old plan?
Well, so I talked to Dale this morning. He said that we don't need new right-of-way on the old plan. And I said, well, that's not what Stephen said. And that's not what he put in writing. And until he retracts that, I'm reluctant to do anything on it.
So no action today on that?
Well, not on the Coltrane project. We need to talk about some other things that have gone on too. So, one of the things that happened last week was that we were summoned. Commissioner Ellis and I were summoned to the state capitol to meet with Representative Wallace. It was kind of an unusual thing. Representative Wallace's secretary said that he wanted to talk about an issue that his constituents had. Well, he's got part of southeastern part of Logan County. So he's got a few constituents over there. I couldn't understand why I needed to be there because, you know, that's Cody's area. Well, when we got there, we showed up, it was, there were two things. Oklahoma County came in, and they wanted to talk about the log jam. So it was kind of an ambush meeting for me, but that's okay, that happens. But that's why I was invited, but I was never told why I was invited. But the Bear Creek Bridge project for Cody was also discussed there as well, and I'll let Commissioner Ellis talk about that here in just a second. But let me finish up on the log jam. So we can't use SERV money for the log jam. I already knew that, right? But that seemed to be a big revelation from the folks from ODOT. No, we can't use that. But once they find out money that can be used, find a pot of money, either at the legislature or somewhere else that can be used, then we can borrow money from the ETR funds to start the program apparently. And then, but we have to pay back ETR funds with some source of funds. I told them once again, Logan County does not have the funds to clear that log jam. It's going to be well over $100,000 to pull all that stuff out and do something with it. Well over. Oklahoma County is going to get an estimate of what it's going to cost to completely clear the log jam instead of just doing a Band-Aid approach to where we go in and pull out enough to where water starts flowing again. That's what they wanted to do the first time. And so everybody agrees that if we're going to fix it, we need to fix it. And so they're going to start looking for money up at the legislature and try and find a way to do that. The I think it was Water Resources folks asked me, well, if you don't have the money, can you just do jobs for us until you pay it off in labor? And I said, well, no, because when you think about it, because we don't have a lot of money, we still have a lot of work that's going on with the employees we're paying to fix our roads and bridges. And if we're working for you, we're not working for our constituents. So I did not commit to anything that had to do with log jam because we just don't have the funds to do it. And so that's my update on that piece. I'm going to turn the rest of this over to Commissioner Ellis to talk about his Bear Creek. And then there was another thing that came up that had to do with a road over there and a grant that was provided back in, what was it, 1998?
1999.
1999 for $50,000 to pave one of the roads over there that's never been used, and that money's still there. Now, to his credit, Representative Wallace understood that $50,000 back in 1999 would have paved a lot of roads, maybe a mile, and done it real well. But in 2021, $50,000 won't pay very much. It won't buy very much asphalt. So he understood that.
But we patched the road down here and it was $70,000 to patch it.
Yeah, one of my biggest concerns, and again, it's over in Commissioner Ellis's area, but my biggest concern is if we as a county have to spend $500,000 to prep the road under the ODOT contract requirements, if we have to spend $500,000 to spend $50,000, that may not be a good investment, but I'll let the commissioner talk about that. Cody, do you want to go ahead? I appreciate your input, sir.
My portion of the meeting last week with Representative Wallace was about local bridge 128, which is over the Bear Creek Bridge at Potawatomi and Seward Road. That is an old truss bridge, and it was closed December 29th of 2020 under the previous commissioner. It is a failing bridge. It is not passable. I've been out there with Brian Taylor from ODOT, and we looked at the bridge and looked at some options, and pretty much Representative Wallace wanted to get that bridge reopened any way possible. In speaking with ODOT, we've discussed a plan as what's called a bridge saddle. And of course, I'd like to get one of our other commissioners, Commissioner Piercy, over there because he's got a great knowledge of bridge building, and have him look at that also. But pretty much what he was telling us is that if we do the work ourselves to do the bridge saddle would cost us somewhere around $250,000 just for the bridge saddle. So we pretty much have been trying to explore our options as far as funding and where we can get the funds to do this, and pretty much we're kind of on a limb right now until we have the definitive yes or no if Oklahoma County's gonna be in the I-35 project, because if they're not going to be, then we may be possible, there's a possibility of us being able to move some CERB funds to that project, to do that project. So that was the first project that he brought up that he said was a priority to him. Second project was the grant that was discussed by Commissioner Goodman about the $50,000 that was allotted for Charter Oak between Pottawatomie and Luther Road. That is a 3-mile stretch of Charter Oak, and I've gone through there, and it would take a tremendous amount of prep work to do those 3 miles. So I have not gotten too far on that. He wants Luther Road, which is already on our 5-year CERB plan, to be completed first. However, he wants, part of that discussion was that he would like for us to kind of prioritize those 2 miles. And that's pretty much where our discussion ended. We exchanged phone numbers and business cards.
Did they say who awarded the grant? What kind of grant is that? Is it, REAP wouldn't still be hanging out there after all these
It
years?
was some sort of a federal grant.
I've got it in my notes on my phone. This meeting, I was blinded. I didn't know what the meeting was about. They
We
just
both were.
Yeah. I'm gonna go back and do some research to pull documents that may have.
It was an
99
industrial access grant.
Okay, 99 would have been under Commissioner Leach.
Leach.
I wasn't clerk in 99 either, so let me see what we may have in the old minute files.
Well, Cody, I'll be glad to come out and look at the bridge with you and see what we can figure out, but I don't know if it's a representative's spot to recommend that we're gonna put this up on our priority list. This is our list, not his.
You know, and I had that same discussion with ODOT in some email back and forth that I had this last week. That they intend to try and, you know how it's easier to rope one calf than it is 3 at once? Okay, so what they try to do is they try and separate one of the commissioners out and talk to them and I tried to explain to them that CERB program is not something that a employee of a CED can go talk to a single commissioner and change our CERB program. I said that has to happen by a vote of all 3 of the county commissioners. I said the CERB program is a county program. I said it might benefit, you know, individual districts, but the CERB program is not a district program in Logan County. I've never looked at it that way.
Right.
And I don't think any of us has ever looked at it that way. It's to benefit all of the residents, what's best for all the residents in the county as we're doing this. And, you know, ODOT doesn't like that because they want us to bend the knee to the CEDs and let them tell us what we need to do on our CERB programs. And anyway, we're kind of in a discussion back and forth on that. I hope that discussion's over with. But I explained in no uncertain terms that CERB program and anything that gets added to it or taken off goes through our board of commissioners first. And if they would like to come talk to us, you know, while we're doing our plan, you know, that input is welcome. But it's not going to be one of those things where you get off and get to whispering in one commissioner's ear to do something special or different and try and get that through.
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to impress me, you ought to come to our meeting. We can tell him the funding situation and maybe he can work on funding.
Actually,
Also,
as chair of the appropriations committee, I think Rick Wallace should be well aware of our lack of funds.
So I tried to do a good job of explaining that to them when they were talking about the log jam. I explained the difference in inequities and how much money the state allocates to Logan County versus Oklahoma County. I pointed out that Oklahoma County does get around $23,000 a mile back in 2018 when things got crazy with COVID. They get $23,000 per mile per year from the state. Logan County gets $3,000 per mile per year. And they want me to buckle up half, they want, and Cody too, buckle up half on Waterloo Road to pay halvesies. We can't afford to do that. That's one of the highest traveled roads in our county, Waterloo Road is. And our part of Logan County, the southern part, southern, central, and southwest part of Logan County, is the third fastest residential growing area in the state of Oklahoma. We are the third fastest growing area in the state. And so we've got all of this new growth, all these new roads that we're having to try and fix and keep operational. And we get 1/8 of what they give to Oklahoma County. And they get credit for all of the population in Oklahoma City, Midwest City, all of the communities, all of the municipalities, but they only maintain roads in the unincorporated area. It would be nice to have, a big metropolitan area that we could also get credit for the people, but Logan County doesn't have that many people. So until they change that antiquated way of allocating funds that was done, I think it was put in place in 1976, somewhere around in there.
That's exactly.
And they haven't changed it since then. It's old, it's antiquated, it's wore out, and we just don't have the money. So I talked to them about that. And then also when they were talking about bridges, I did point out to the representative that Logan County has over 200 bridges on our bridge program. I said, I've got a book that's about this thick. I said, Monty's got a book about this thick because he's got a lot of the bridges. So does Cody. He's got a big bridge book. And all of the stuff that needs to be fixed in there, all of this, if we fixed everything that was in the bridge books, it would, we wouldn't have a budget for the next 5 years.
We just can't.
We just can't do it. And I told him, we got 200 bridges and over half of them are structurally deficient. And we just can't fix them all right now. So we don't have the funds for all that. So, but still, representatives like to be able to say, well, I want you to do this as a priority. I asked them to consider Senate Bill 1888 and passing that again so we could get the 35% of the SERB money sent directly to the counties for one more year, at least one more year. I'd like to see it done. I'd like to get half of it forever, but the likelihood of that happening is not good. But they never blinked, they never nodded, they never acknowledged that I even said that. So
When we were discussing the bridge project, of course, there was discussion of ODOT being involved and Lincoln County being involved due to being right there on the county lines. And I was able to speak with the commissioner, District 2 commissioner in Lincoln County, and he was still under the impression of the northeast boundary handshake that was given a long time ago, where the counties are responsible for their northern and eastern boundary. How much I wish that was so, because then that would take the Waterloo Road headache away from us, but it's not. And we were discussing that. I understand trying to get all these different entities involved, but financially it's just not something that we can do until we know that we have the funds, and right now we know that we don't have the funds. So right now we're just kind of at a standstill on that until we get some more information on it.
So what we're waiting on before we can adjust our 5-year plan is the update on the I-35 Waterloo Road interchange program. None of us, I haven't received anything. I doubt, okay. So yeah, our clerk's pretty good about letting us know when we get stuff from ODOT. So we haven't received a letter asking whether we intend to proceed. So we were supposed to get that letter, Oklahoma County's supposed to get that letter, and Once they get a response back from Oklahoma County, then we'll make a determination as we discussed at our last meeting. So item 6, there's a lot there, but the functionals that we need to chat with about this are not here, and I found that to be rather telling. So any other discussion on item 6? Okay. So with that, we'll table this, and once we get through item 7 and 8, we may need to have a special meeting once we can get folks to commit to being here, that we can discuss this stuff with, to reassure us that the right-of-ways and all these other things that have been discussed or have been taken care of. So, no discussion, nothing else, so no action on item 6. Item 7, consideration of possible action to approve the title sheet for Coltrane Phase 3. Again, I don't think we can take action on that because we don't have the engineers here to talk about it. Any discussion on that? Okay. Item 8, consideration of possible action on right-of-way and utility affidavit for Coltrane Road Phase 3. Again, I don't think we can take an action on that. So 6, 7, and 8, I want to take no action on and try and schedule a special meeting, at least when our engineers can be here to talk to us about it. All right, item 9, consideration of possible action on resolution to establish a 4-way stop at intersection of Simmons Road and Midwest Boulevard.
I'll move we approve.
I will second.
I have a motion and a second on the 4-way stop. Any further discussion?
That has just become a very busy intersection, and there's been a lot of concern for the intersection. And, that they will be really happy to get that done.
All right, thank you, Cody. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Item 10, consideration of possible action on resolution accepting $2,750 donation from Christopher S. McNeil to District 3 for rock to be placed on Douglas between County Road 63 and County Road 64.
Mr. McNeil contacted me, and we had a long discussion about county funding and what have you. He just bought some property in Logan County, or in my district anyway. And he wanted to make a donation to help pay for gravel to be placed on that road.
I move we approve.
I will second.
I have a motion and a second on the donation of $2,750. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Item 11, consideration of possible action on resolution accepting $375 donation from Troy Dykes to District 3 for culvert to be placed on County Road 63 between Santa Fe and Kelly.
I'll move we approve. He is moving out in that area and needs 10 homes.
I will second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? This is the Troy Dykes that works for the sheriff, or under sheriff, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Good.
He's there. I don't know if he works. Does he work?
Works. Yes.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
It's got $375 from somebody.
Hey, did you get a donut? Did you smell, sniff those out?
Thanks, appreciate that. Let's go on to item 12.
Yes, sir. You are the Rodney Dangerfield of the
I know.
elected officials of Logan County.
I know it.
Get no respect. Local sheriff. Great guy. All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. That's approved. Item 12, notification of receipt of rebate from ACO for 17-18 workers' comp performance.
So I received an envelope from ACO last week, and I've never seen this ever in all my years here. Dun, dun, dun. So we received this little notice that says, congratulations, your entity is receiving this performance rebate for the 17-18 policy year for the great work of the ACO SIF Workers Compensation Program as a whole. Working to reduce your loss exposure through training and awareness has its benefits. Keep up the good work. Please share this great accomplishment at your weekly commissioner meeting and with your county personnel. The county received a rebate of $21,620.09 for the work comp policy for fiscal year 17-18. It'll go a long way to paying the fiscal year 21-22 premium that's due in July. So no action, just notifying you all that we did receive that.
Oh, that's great. Awesome. Thank you, Neil. All right. Item 13, consideration of possible action to approve cancellation of stale dated warrants.
Yeah, the treasurers provided the list of warrants that are more than a year old that have not been cashed, and we are required to cancel.
We got a total on that?
$1,991.31. I'll move to approve.
I'll second. Have a motion and a second on approving cancellation of stale dated warrants. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All right, item 14.
Chairman, we have nothing for 14, we do for 15.
Okay. Item 15, discussion and possible action on resolution appointing receiving officers for various accounts.
Cash and Fire Department.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the receiving officers. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, is there any possible way we can move the executive session up to help these folks get back to work?
Yes, sir. I just now realized we did have those folks sitting here to do that. So before we get into the consent and all of that, I'll entertain a motion to go to item 20 and enter executive session.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
We are adjourning and entering into executive session. We'll be back as soon as that's over with. Back here. So I'd like to call this meeting of Logan County Commissioners back into order. All right, item 16, consideration and possible action on approving the following permanent road crossing permits for Logan County Rural Water District number 1. There are 3 of them. Any discussion, consideration here?
I'll move to approve.
I will second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the 3 road crossings. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item 17, discussion of possible action on the consent agenda. Let the paperwork begin. We sign a lot during the consent agenda. While we're in the lull, Chris,
Hey, Ron.
I'd like to thank you for the articles you've written about the ODOT projects and all that. There are like 3 or 4 of them that you wrote up.
Yeah.
It's very informative and helpful.
Thanks, yeah, I was looking to spread them out so they do, closer to one.
But they were all of course, well written and very informative. Thank you. I'm waiting for an article on Don's Crocs, though.
Yeah. Multi-colors, 4-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive.
I've never seen anybody barbecuing Crocs before.
Have you seen us insulated Crocs?
No.
said suede Crocs?
Insulated.
Oh, insulated Crocs. Come out with some corduroy Crocs.
I've seen some spurs for them.
Yeah, spurs.
Payroll claims look nice.
Yeah, I like it.
We were successful in our opening run.
Definitely different.
Well, it beats having to sign them in 3 different places. I mean, it's,
You've got a couple coming your way that have flags for your signature.
yes, ma'am.
Tracy will thump me if I give them back and they're not there.
Need to keep Tracy happy. Payroll clerk.
Yeah, no one seemed to have any problem and they worked just the way they should have, and so.
I just got some info.
Where it says Marvin.
Yeah, over there.
Yes. Oh, I guess we need to sign it here too. So Cody, I thought it was interesting that one of the options on that bridge that they were talking about, we talked about this now, one of the options on that bridge was that you take it apart and put it back together again.
Yeah. That was one of their
Old
options.
steel truss bridge, Monty, it's bolt, it's got rivets to hold it, yeah.
Yeah, they were wanting us to pull it all the way completely apart and put it right back together with the same bolts, but.
Right, bolts.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
But you know as well as I do, whenever you go to try to pull something that old apart, eventually you're gonna have to cut something. They said they recommend not cutting or welding on that material because it's not a weldable material.
Yeah, I don't know about that, because we've done it.
Transfer.
I think Monty can weld about anything.
We re-welded one at one time.
So Troy, I will say, I think this has reduced the paper a little bit.
Yeah, I've not as many pages and not as
A lot, like once a year.
many signature spots.
That's ridiculous. It can't be functional.
We make little improvements as we can, you know. I gotta build forms.
Did you say you make as little improvements as you can?
I didn't say as little.
I just wanted to get it
I
correctly
said we
written.
make little improvements.
Oh,
Blankets. Hey, I am going to clerk school next week, so who knows what forms I can come up with next.
oh my gosh.
Place is gonna fall apart while you're gone.
Actually, I build all these forms and then other clerks say, can you send that to me?
Yeah.
So, but Martin teased me about making forms, and so.
So one of these days you might go to work for the state auditor's office, who's the one that's supposed to come up with the forms that we use.
Yeah.
And they do, sometimes I just don't like them.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. She uses our own forms, which are better. I will give her that.
If you notice, those donation resolutions that went through here earlier are a new universal donation resolution form that I have fixed.
I saw that. So how about the donut donation resolution forms?
Oh, speaking of which, that $21,000 that was awarded in 2017, the sheriff wanted to note that he was elected and took office in 2017 for the record.
Okay.
Troy didn't write that down, but.
We give Damon due credit for that.
Listen,
So
that
put
that
good
was
stuff
real,
on there
I
for a
mean, just
second.
pennies falling out of the sky to get them to send a rebate. It makes me worry about what the increase on this upcoming year will be. Officer reports.
So while we're just sitting around here signing stuff, Steve and I went out and looked at a watershed dam over at Cedar Valley East, over on Hogan, that was starting to seep at the base of the lower end pond, and the water started to seep through underneath there. That is not a good thing when a dam starts doing that.
And I called Stan and texted him, but I never heard back from him.
Okay. But the folks, was it Water Resources Board?
No, it was, Gigi with the, conservation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Basically just said that he needs to get an engineer to look at it, right?
She thinks it's eroding underneath of it.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
So, it's,
Yeah.
So-
She's nice.
talk
You're
is,
talking about the one that we busted the water main line on?
Rookie, come on, man.
yeah, come on.
That was years ago. That was years ago.
Yeah. I'll send
No,
it.
actually, I shared with Steve the monuments to that where AT&T cans are at, you know, on each side, yeah, where we cut through that.
Oh, she's great.
That was fixed properly though.
It was,
She's got a
it
house.
was. So that part's not the worst, it's the other
I don't
part.
know where it's at. but it's
And so where I was going with that, Molly, talk is cheap until you have to hire a lawyer or
Here's
an
the
engineer.
house. The house looks up, you step out the backyard and you look out. at
I
the-
guess it's not in the town of Cedar Valley?
Yeah, and they weren't.
It is in the township.
Oh, it is in the
Yeah, yeah. That dam actually sits on a lot
She was telling us.
that is part of Cedar Valley that's nobody owns except for either the golf course or the township owns it. Yeah, County doesn't,
Yeah.
so. We're happy to help with all the expert advice that we can give, and Steve's been out there to look at it too, but happy to enter into cooperative agreements with them if they got an engineer that says that fixing it this way will work. There's different methods. There's some clay, a type of clay that you can add to ponds that are leaking at dam sites to shore that up. But again, an engineer needs to figure all that out, and then once that's done, then we might be able to help them.
The only thing you need to do is get a can of Flex Seal and spray it.
Maybe
Yeah.
tape the flex.
We can just spray it at the base and it'll be good.
Buy 3, get 1 free.
Gorilla tape won't
Get
work?
one free.
Flex Seal's
Only
better.
on-
Flex Seal's better, okay. There you go.
Yeah.
That's why we keep Monty around. He's got all these answers.
They show those commercials where the guy's sticking that tape on there in the water, works fine.
No problems. Marvin, when you get through signing the consent agenda, I'll move that we approve them items.
I will second that.
I'll quit talking and start signing.
Well, unless you see something you don't like, then bring it back to my attention.
Well, I'm signing POs right now. District 3. Oh. What is fuel costing us these days, by the way?
Too much.
Too much, that's right. Hey, we're going about 2 months on about 7,500 gallons of diesel. I think we're, unless it rains, then we don't use that much.
It goes fast.
Accessory blanket fuel. Oh, Cody, I called that fellow that you had come look at the 6-story building roof, and he's going out to do a little work for me, I think. I didn't know that you had a 60-some-year-old guy traverse all those steps to go up to the top of that building.
Yeah.
Not getting down.
Does our insurance cover such things?
Yeah, it was definitely an experience going all the way up to the roof.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, that is approved. Discussion and possible action on claims for payment April 2021. Yeah, poor fella. He said he's trying to get his knee replaced. I talked to him. and he's got him going up and down 12 flights. You know, there's 2 flights at each. Yeah.
Maybe that'll expedite the process.
Oh my.
Maybe that's why
You could at least packed him up there, you know.
I asked him, I said, hey, I hope you brought your climbing shoes today.
I mean, I could, before I had mine replaced, I could only make it up to the 3rd floor. Of course, yeah.
And I believe when I called him, I said, hey, it's a 6-story building. The first question he asked whenever he got here is, does the elevator work?
It comes down fast, it just don't go up.
He's like, we're gonna have to get a personnel lift just to do the job out here if we do it. I'll tell you what, sure would be neat to see that building completely renovated.
Well, you might live to see it. You know what? I was thinking with that. I was thinking, you know, if we called that a COVID inoculation building, do you think we get to spend money?
You know, I'm still waiting to hear how we can spend it. The little bit that's trickled out isn't things that Logan County does. We don't have water, sewer, or broadband that are handled by county government, and you know, the state handles the vaccines, and so I'm still waiting to hear what we're going to be allowed to use that money for.
So they're just gonna
It's to
teach
use
you
for
for
a
that
lot
$9
more.
million. Hey,
Well, and you only get half, and then you get half. And I personally think that there is going to be large regret in the way they're doing this, and that they're fronting it up and just dropping this money in bank accounts rather than as a reimbursement or a grant. I just,
Well, they're already talking about a fourth stimulus check.
yeah. So,
Don't know how they're gonna pay for the first one.
yeah, exactly.
Well, they ain't worried about paying for it.
I hope we do that.
Our grandkids will be doing that.
You better add a few grates on.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Is this it?
I'll make a motion to approve the claims.
I will second.
Have a motion and a second to approve claims. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Item 19, discussion and possible action on approving purchase card payments for April 2021. This is the Amazon card, right?
Yeah.
I'll move we approve.
How much is it?
906.51.
I have a motion, and I will second that. Motion and a second to approve payment card payment or P card payment. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Do you have a question, Commissioner?
Yeah, I was just questioning the one with the camera and stuff like that. The total on it alone is 1,078.
I may have added something.
We've approved it for $900.
And technically, it's approved in the item before. We just have to set these out separate as well, so they were in the total claims.
Technically. Yeah, she's doing shit.
Hey, I have answers. I didn't say they were right, but I have answers.
I was just looking through them because I know a lot of them are mine.
As long as your answers are good with the state auditor, I'm good.
I did pretty good last time.
Sure did.
Bird's eye view.
Sir?
Bird's eye view.
I answered our way right out of a few findings, so how's that? I just missed that. I don't know why they make us set these out separate when they're included in the expense report anyway, but not my rule.
Okay, so we finished item 20 and 21 also. Item 22, any citizen desiring to be heard? Go for it, Steve.
I'll give it up. I did get a quote from Andy Goddard to move the siren computer and the base radios and everything over to the new office, and it's about $1,800 to move all that and install new antennas and everything. So.
Is the antenna going to be sufficient as far as the height over there, or?
Yeah, because we're going to use the, whenever I talked to the sheriff, we're going to use the old VHF repeater that's a Charter Oak and I-35, and so that way we won't be restricted to height, so it'll just send from here to Charter Oak and then out to the sirens to set them off. So it'll be instead of line to sight, so.
Okay.
I got your office, are you behind that keypad door?
Yes.
So how does that work when someone wants to come in and see you about floodplain deal or something?
I got a note hanging on the door to call whenever they get there.
I mean, it just seems odd that, you know, we're behind locked doors where no one can come in and see you.
I got it.
In case it's an emergency, you know.
Exactly. It's handy to call them first.
So is there a, so it assumes that somebody's got a phone with them when they get there?
Yeah, or there's a doorbell too on there to ring it,
Okay.
so.
In moving all that stuff, you know, if we're thinking about remodeling some of that, you know, they might hold off on doing it if we don't know how it's gonna lay out. It might
Yeah.
change a lot.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea.
Something to think about.
So we might want to consider your area temporary for right now.
Oh,
In the
okay.
same building, just, right.
Okay.
But that's okay. I mean, the 18, honestly, moving all that stuff for $1,800 is probably about right. I mean, I didn't flinch too hard on that one.
I'm on an outside wall
Yeah.
now, and so that's why I like that's even better, so.
Well, where we're talking about, it has a couple of outside walls too,
Okay.
I think, doesn't it, Mine?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right, anything else, Steve?
No, just Raylene from the state. She's gonna help meet with me in District 1 and District 2 on the October ice storm stuff, so we can do partial closeouts and get everything going and get some reimbursement coming in on that.
For the first 6 months, right? And for, I guess for the record, yes, we are still picking up debris, storm debris, and we're going to be picking up storm debris probably for another 6 months, past October. I mean, there's so much of that out there on the ground. It's just so hard to get to everybody at once, and I do appreciate everybody's patience on that. And so I guess we're into item 23, comments, announcements, and questions by the board. Monty, you got anything?
You know, the only thing is, we did get our grant for the dumpsters, so we're gonna have the dumpsters at our yard for the next 2 weeks, starting Monday. Be 7 to 3, Monday through Friday. If people have got bulk trash, no shingles, no ice boxes, no refrigerator.
How about grass clippings?
Yeah, that's fine with me. No tires.
It makes
I mean,
white smoke when you burn it, by the way.
Stuff you can't put in a dump, you can't bring it. So
Okay.
that's all I got.
Thank you, sir.
The only thing I've got is the rain has kind of halted our progress on Post and Otis. We've got a few roads that are pretty treacherous right now due to the rain, and had some issues yesterday, but just want to let everybody know we'll get to it as soon as we can, when we can, to try to prepare those to prevent the roads from being in that condition in the future. So.
Okay.
Hey, Mark, real quick, thanks for loaning me a dump truck and a driver.
Hey, anything we can help.
If I could use him again Monday, it'd be awesome.
You got it. Not a problem. We can do that.
I
Hey,
appreciate it.
Cody, Steve talked about radios and radio antennas and moving and such. And I know you've been involved in trying to expand our frequency spectrum with the Board of Commissioners. Anything on that front as far as on the fire channels and that kind of thing?
Pretty much, I'm just trying to right now acquire the LOAs for the different channels that I need to get. What I've done is I've acquired 800 radio, basically to monitor any fire activity or any activities in the district. And right now, just like I said, waiting on the LOAs from the city manager, because he controls the fire district's frequencies, and I'm waiting on the LOA from the sheriff. Other than that, that's where we're at right now.
LOA.
Letter of authorization.
And that's to operate a push-to-talk radio?
Yes, that is to operate a portable or mobile push-to-talk.
And then that will apply to the whole county now? I mean, once we get that done, I mean, you're doing that to
I believe
help us with the whole frequency spectrum, right?
Yes, and what we'll have to do is each district will have to basically get the LOA because it's per radio. Every radio that you acquire has to have an LOA, has to have LOAs attached to that radio.
Is that something that Steve can help us with on?
Yeah, he's been helping.
Yeah. Okay, I thought you were. Okay. All right. Anything else? All right, gentlemen, we've been here a while, I guess. Item 24, consideration of possible action on adjournment.
I'll move when approved.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.